Witnesses, I believe that our talk today will be on much lighter topics tonight. For the most part, things were less chaotic and much less disappointing last time we saw our heroes. Seeing as our group had all dressed as circus performers, they were easily mistaken for just that. Heiko and Digo both got forcefully drafted into the circus. Heiko was thrust into the spotlight as a fire-breathing monk, although I think that he has never even thought about breathing fire before. Luckily enough for him, though, he breathes fire for the crowd's amusement and does a decent enough job. He manages to create quite a display of butterflies made of brilliant flames that go fluttering into the crowd, delighting all. He's an instant star. Digo, not quite so lucky, becomes part of a strange cloud troupe that exists to tame legendary dragons under the adoring crowd's watchful eye. The clown's version of taming dragons, though, is a little extreme. It does appear that they're a little more into the blood sport of it all than they are into the taming of the actual dragons. So a terrifying spectacle ensues of armed clowns swarming the stage, pushing forwards towards a red and green dragon as Digo surveys the situation. It's a very interesting sight indeed. Digo, not necessarily wanting to be a part of this any longer, attempts to calm the dragons. But these dragons do not particularly appreciate or acknowledge the validity of his attempts. The excited armed killer clowns attempt to attack the dragons, but Digo turns his attention towards them, towards this enraged clown group in an attempt to calm them, but they also don't listen to him. And the result is Digo being trampled by dozens of oversized clown shoes as they run all over him. These clowns then commence their attack on the dragons, attempting to tame them. Digo does his absolute best to attempt to protect the dragons, but his efforts are dashed at every attempt. He attempts to calm them by invoking Bahamut's name, but these dragons are followers of the Dragon Queen Tiamat. As he does this, he is overtaken by a vision of his home. It's burning and destroyed. He sees Tiamat flying away from the destruction, many of his own dragon riders in tow, with the tablet clutched in her talons. This tablet is surely another key to Volator's binds, another one of the 13. But before he even has time to take that vision in, Digo's master appears and walks up from behind him. He takes that moment to taunt Digo. He tells him that he serves a new master now, one that could bring him back when no one else could. He shows him his arm, which is covered in a tattoo of wrapped chains. He identifies himself as an eldritch lord and tells Digo that it is him who has failed, that he wasn't there when he needed him the most, that he has failed him. And Digo obviously gets upset at this and tells his master how far that he has fallen, how much of a disappointment that he has become due to his acceptance of the darkness. And I must admit, I was surprised at this. His anger and his pain, although it may sound a bit mean, they were a bit refreshing to me. It was a brief moment of clarity for Digo that was truly reflective, I think, because for a moment he was faced with a mirror image of what he could become. He was looking into his own future, flipping to the end of his own tale and getting to judge the ending of the story before it happens. And I think the anger he felt wasn't just a disappointment for his master's actions, but also deep disappointment for his own. the person that he was becoming, the person that he had become. And perhaps this encounter could have been what he needed. It could have been what he had to see to turn him back onto a path of righteousness and to turn away from the dark. Volatar's pull is powerful. He's smart and cunning, and none are safe. And it is my estimation that those of us that think we are beyond his grasp are the most vulnerable, for they are the ones that let their guards down the most. And I believe that after this night, Dio's guard shall forever be raised. Dio's master jumps aboard the green dragon and begins to ride as a portal opens and Tiamat can be seen on the other side. Dio takes his spear gun and fires, hooking the dragon and running up the rope to get at his master. He attempts to attack, but he's unable to connect, and instead is thrown off of the front of the dragon. And as he falls, the dragon exhales its poison breath, striking him. And he careens to the floor like a shooting star, falling in a cloud of poison, impacting with the hard floor of the circus's main stage. And covered in poison, he vows his vengeance before his mentor disappears through the closing portal, and he passes out from the trauma he's received from his wounds. Meanwhile, Chimera and Chia spend some time in the Pixie Kingdom. They're sprinkled with pixie dust and nearly float away, but due to Chimera's quick thinking and a borrowed whisker, they aren't lost into the far realms. They eventually float into the main square where they host a musical concert with magical effects, pyrotechnics, and sorceress lights. They get the pixie crowd involved with extra instruments and such, and unbeknownst to them, they win their freedom from the place with their wonderful performance. We also learn that Herbie eats pixies or whatever, and that's a bit disturbing. Kairos is a bit disturbing, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I can't be the only one that thinks that, right? Chia mentions Volatar's name, and Lord Thamar is on her immediately. This prompts an innocent bystander to ask about it, who mentions Volatar's name as well. And that gnome is now, well, no longer with us. Let's take a moment in remembrance. Agma, Lord of Knowledge, we beseech you to guide that poor curious gnome on their journey to the next realm. Grant them the wisdom to understand the secrets of the universe and the truth that lies beyond. May the poor gnome find peace and fulfillment in their next life, and may their legacy continue to inspire those who remain behind. Rest in peace, gnome. You will be missed, but never forgotten. Lord Thamor then explains that mentioning Volatar's name spreads the darkness from heart to heart. Simply knowing about him opens the door to him being able to tempt you. He explains that if he is freed, he will use Volantia as a vessel to spread his name throughout the multiverse and will awaken long-forgotten gods. We learn of his siblings, the Queen of Darkness, who is said to be destined to join him, and the god Vanar, who is diametrically opposed to him. Vanar is the Lord of Light, the shield against the corruption of darkness that protects Volantia. He is a guardian of this place and is an ally to the heroes. It is said that Vanar is imprisoned in the same prison as his dark brother. That being said, Vanar is the key to destroying Volatar. But because they are trapped in the same place, releasing him also releases Volatar. So, in order for the heroes to find out more, they will have to make a dire trek to the Library of the Dark Shards within the Rift. And this place may have more answers, but it is well guarded and will not be easy to access. It is made from Volantian crystals. And those are, well, we remember what those do. Those are truly terrifying. We also find that Chia can sever her connection with Volatar by changing her bardic college from the College of Whispers, and that Volatar is now in possession of 4 of the 13 keys. Our heroes have one of these keys, obviously the necklace that Heiko has around his neck, the monkey paw. And we find that Reiku's music box has a piece of Vinar's soul within it. Our heroes decide to enter the Time Shard Games, where they will compete against 6 other teams, but because the things that they can win are worth the effort. And some of the prizes will be of great importance in the furthering of their quest. And as they prepare, they decide to basically get group tattoos. I'm not going to discuss where and what. It's a bit strange, and to be honest, it's best left to the imagination. Regardless, when they were done selecting their body ornamentations, the games began. They found themselves placed within a pocket dimension of sorts. The first enemy that they faced was a plague monarch with the flame skull. They struggled with the challenge for quite a while. The plague monarch needed to be damaged by healing. Growing frustrated, Pellet decided to help and took the magical bag off of Digo's shoulders and released the creature that it held inside. I immediately noticed the harm that this could cause and banished the creature. In the end, the party does finally win the combat. Also, Pellet pooped on Digo. I approved of that action. During the next contest, Chia was confronted by a hunt master who threw out the dead body of her grandfather. He says that he will continue to kill her family until she reveals the location of one of Voltar's keys that is kept within her home. There was a lot to take in, witnesses, and I hope that I haven't missed anything. Was there anything else that you noticed? Was there anything that I may have missed? Were there any other questions that you may have had? My time here is short, as there are many more preparations that I need to attend to. With everything that's going on in Volantia, it's so hard to keep up. Yes. Pellet tries very hard to keep up with everything going on within the party and to report back to me. I think he's doing well, even though some of the party may not approve all the time. I think he does well. I think things are looking up. I think that the party is beginning to... They're beginning to see the corrupting nature of Volatar, and they're beginning to understand what's truly at stake. And I think things are definitely turning for the better. Lord Thamor is an ally that I think they can trust, that they can count on. And the resources that he can provide are great. He's shown them a great deal of mercy, and I think that that's proof enough of his benevolence. With Paylor behind them and on their side, as well as all of the other patrons in their alliance, I don't see how they can lose. Is there anything that you've noticed, witnesses? Is there anything at all? And don't forget, if you see anything during our sessions, when you're watching through the window, please let me know. If there's anything that I can do to assist the heroes, I may not always see it. I'm doing so much, trying to help Pellet and trying to keep the window open for you. I don't always see it. So if there's something that we can do to help, let me know. Together we can succeed. The heroes can't do it alone, but with us behind them, and with all of the alliances that they've forged and the alliances that they're going to forge in the future, I think we stand in a good chance. I've never been so hopeful. And I think that that's all the time that I can allow for this at the moment, witnesses. Thank you for your time. Until next time, witnesses, mind the fates and keep your destiny close, for there are more adventures to be had if we can simply keep the faith.